Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sansom, Jim Jones for Veterans in Politics. Our guest is going to be Miriam Gibson, who's going to talk about leaving the Democratic Party for a non-partisan party. Non-partisan is a party, isn't it?
Well, non-partisan is a position.
Yeah. And she's the host of The Village Voices. Jim.
Okay, I'll make it short and brief because I got to keep my emotions in check. But tomorrow will be January 23rd, which would be my mom's 65th birthday if she was still with us. I brought her favorite hat, but honestly, I can't wear it because her head was so small that like it just won't fit. So, and I just want to say how lucky it was to have a good mom like that. And,
nobody can see the hat, Jim. You got to show the hat.
Yeah. I have no idea why she was a White Sox fan, but she was a White Sox fan. So how someone that came from Hot Springs, South Dakota became a White Sox fan, I have no idea, but I'm sure she had her reasons.
She probably likes the players.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, actually, yeah. And that was the team that was always playing on TV. And so that was cool. She really enjoyed baseball. So that was good. And, yeah, just, it's hard to believe that she's gone, but.
How long has it been there?
On February 14th, it'll be 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. Yeah. She reminds me a lot of you, Steve.
Really? How so?
Big heart, big mouth.
February 14th is Johnny Spicer's birthday, too.
Oh, really?
That's Valentine's Day also.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of interesting bringing up Valentine's Day is that everybody was telling me, oh, that really must stink that your mom passed away on Valentine's Day. And I was like, well, my dad had passed away in 2004, and then my mom passed away in 2019. And the way I took it is, I'm like, well, you know, what a good Valentine's Day gift for her to be able to meet up with my dad again.
So,
Yeah.
You have anything else?
No, I just wanted to say that for those of you that aren't lucky enough to be close to your mom and she's still around, stay close because you'll miss them when they're gone.
you certainly will.
And I just want to remind everybody about the Veterans in Politics Valentine's Day Ball and Gala. That's February 19th at the South Point. Cocktail hours from 5 to 6. Dinner starts from 6 until. And I wanted to say, everybody get your tickets. Tickets are selling. And we would like to fill up the room. So get your tickets now. Go to Eventbrite or go to veteransinpolitics.org. Ms. Gibson.
Okay.
Tell us about you.
Well, I'm Miriam Gibson. I'm the host of The Village Voices, and we're on KCEP radio station. Right now, we're on there the third Friday of every month. That's 88.1 FM.
Lawrence Weekly used to have a show on it. Does he still have one?
I listened to the station this morning, and yeah, Mr. Weekly was on there.
Oh, so he's still on. That's good. He's
some
staying
type
active.
of religious show or something. A call-in show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Lawrence. He was my city council person and county commissioner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got a very interesting story. I like Lawrence.
Yeah, I think he's been with KCP for many years, from what I understand. Yeah. But the Village Voice is what we're trying to do is present to the community a different perspective, a different way of looking at politics. And, you know, we're trying to encourage people to not be so committed to political parties that's not really working in the best interest of the Black community. And we not only present political candidates, we also talk about issues that's beneficial to the community. We reach out to the entertainment community because there's politics in entertainment. There's a lot of local entertainers that we try to encourage people to support, A lot of people coming in from out of town want to see cultural events within the community outside the Strip. So we try to share that. We talk about education, the educational system here, criminal justice, housing, various issues. We're nonpartisan. We're non-religious affiliated. We're just neutral, and so that people can come on and present their point of view to the community and give a community opportunity to be a more educated consumer or participant in the system.
It's funny when people say, "Well, I'm not involved in politics," but everything is politics.
Everything is.
The scheduling of the stoplight.
That's right.
That's all political because the county, they vote on it.
Yes.
If it's going to go 1 minute, if it's going to go 2 minutes, if the intersection is a lot of traffic or it's slow traffic, they'll vote on that. Potholes in the street, that's political.
It's political.
Now people are realizing education is political.
Oh yeah, that's very political.
Education is political. So when somebody says, "Oh no, I don't want to talk about politics," then you're dead. Bury yourself. Put the cement on, you're dead.
And that's politics. Hey,
that's politics.
Dying is politics, okay? Being buried is politics. So I don't know what they're talking about. This is a political society. And that's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
But I've been involved in the political community for many years. At least 20 years. And I've helped be campaign manager for several different political candidates and helped assist them getting elected. I've voter registration. I was very committed to voter registration. Interviewing political candidates and sharing with the community who they represent, having them the questions so that they would be in a better position as to who they want to represent them. I started a nonprofit organization called the Village Voices of Southern Nevada. And one of the services that we've been committed to offering is to help people that have criminal records to seal their criminal records so that they can get into society, cut the rate of recidivism down. People don't realize that no matter how long ago that you might have committed a crime, that can still be held against you. I've met many people that just cried and they were so happy to be able to get relieved of that burden of having a record. In my opinion, once you committed a crime and you paid your debt to society. Society should give you opportunity to come back, be productive, take care of your family, and contribute to taxes and everything else. But if they're not giving you that opportunity, you can't do that. So the Village Voices assist people in sealing their criminal records. Even as being in the real estate community, a lot of people can't even get housing because of criminal records. That's just one aspect.
They can't vote?
They can now. Back in 2019, I think July 2019, they passed a bill that if you're an ex-felon, you can now vote. So, people keep that in mind. And a lot of people don't know that. So even if you're an ex-felon, whether you on probation or whatever it is, you still can vote. And, you need to come out and register to vote, okay? And be able to assist us in passing legislation that can help other people that might have been in your position,
right?
Okay? So another thing that, like the Village Voices, they want to help young people to be able to get mentors so that they can have jobs, to give them an alternative to committing crimes as a means of support, We're also interested in tutoring and even offered an after-school dinner program so the children will also not only have tutors to help them with their education, but feed them before they go home so they're not hungry. You know what I mean? Once you feed them in school, give them breakfast and lunch, what happens when they get home? Okay? So this is just some of the things.
You
But
can't do any homework if you're hungry.
no, you can't. And and to have to go home and be hungry until the next morning to get breakfast, that's very challenging too. So,
Does that still continue though?
Far as I know, they have breakfast. They did have breakfast and they had lunch. But when they were in school, what they're doing now and how they're addressing that, I really don't know. Because with COVID, if you can't go to school, how do they get the food to the kids?
Because I remember a lot of high school kids were couch surfing because they didn't have a home to call their own, so they were going from one place to the other. And that was a problem during COVID because the Clark County School District couldn't find how many? 70,000 students?
Yeah.
Or some crazy number.
It was a really high number.
Yeah, they couldn't find them.
And we want to reach out to our children because our children need help. The school system here, excuse me for saying it, but not. I don't excuse myself for saying it. It's a mess. We're at the bottom of the totem pole, 49th in the country. Please, what happened to the weed money? I mean, that was supposed to be helping education, but I don't see where it's helping anybody. Yeah. We need to overhaul the whole. The Clark County school system, as far as I'm concerned, starting with the board.
Where is the marijuana money?
I don't know. I've been asking that for the.
I was listening to your show.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
The day before?
Yeah, yesterday.
And you had Clark Bossett on.
Right.
Who's running for CD3 as a conservative.
Right.
And you mentioned the weed money, and I started to chuckle.
And that's true.
Nobody's asking because the way it was set up, the recreational marijuana bill was set up to give funding to help education.
Yes.
For teacher salaries and all that good stuff.
Everything.
And now we have it passed, and it's been going strong for what, 2 years now, I think?
It's just been sitting there. I think they moved it to the general fund. I mean, they
wasn't supposed to do that.
No, they weren't.
That's exactly what they did. They moved it to the general fund. And so, excuse me for being kind of a dork on this, but Steve knows how I am. They call me a polyblog. A lot of people were frustrated with me when I said I didn't agree with the bill as far as legalizing recreational marijuana. Well, everybody just assumed that I didn't want marijuana made legal for recreational use. But knowing how my buddy, and I'm being facetious on that, Tick Segerbloom works, when they wrote the bill, they wrote it specifically attaching it to education so they could hold the Republicans hostage, because if the Republicans voted against it, then the Republicans in the legislature, they could hold it against them and say, oh, Republicans are against education. There were so many holes in that bill that wouldn't make sure that the intent of the bill was actually carried out, and that's what's happening.
And they're still asking for money for teachers.
I know. Every time you turn around, didn't they tie the stadium to the school?
Yeah.
Every time you turn around, they using the kids as a bait to get things passed. And then what happens? We don't see nothing that happens. We don't see anything happen in the school system. We're still 49th in the nation.
And
you know what I mean?
They're turning away teachers right now. Teachers been applying and they're turning them away.
I mean, does that make sense? They got all now. They passed marijuana. Okay, you can get marijuana legally here. Okay. The people that's selling it, they're making millions and millions of dollars. The state is getting all this money from the taxes from the marijuana. But that same marijuana that they selling legally now, somebody that used to sell it and that's in jail or have came out of jail can't even get a job selling it legally now. Now, what's up with that?
Yeah, because they sold marijuana
That's
when it
because
was
they got
illegal.
a criminal record.
Yeah.
Because they got a criminal record, and even if they sold weed and went to jail for it, well, some of them went to jail for 20 years, there's people out here making millions and billions of dollars, but that same person came out, he does have work experience, you know. I mean, I'm being facetious.
But you know,
but if he have a criminal record, he can't sell it legally.
But you know something, Miss Gibson, these same people that was against the marijuana, that was locking people up and arresting them, now are in the marijuana business.
They're making millions of dollars.
What a bunch of hypocrites.
That is hypocritical.
And they were talking about marijuana as gateway drugs. Oh my God. And I'm like, alcohol is the worst gateway drug you could get.
Yeah. I mean, there's more people are dying from alcohol than marijuana.
I used to argue with you on that, Steve, but I don't anymore. I agree with you.
Alcohol make you smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
Marijuana don't make you smoke no cigarette.
Well, I don't know because I don't smoke marijuana, but I'm not against them
Have you ever
legalizing.
seen somebody smoke a marijuana and then smoke a cigarette?
I don't know. I don't know. But the thing about it is, I don't like for them to use the kids. The kids are not getting anywhere. The kids are, they're not even competitive with other children throughout the country right here. And I guess that was did deliberately. Why? Because this is a entertainment, what you call a service industry town. So I guess you don't need that much education in order to do the services, that they want them to do. I don't know. I'm not putting down any service because there's a need for everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into why we're ranked where we're ranked with education, and it has to do with the Department of Education on the federal level. And that would be another show. But the one thing, first question I have for you then is because, so you switched from what party and now you're nonpartisan?
Well, I was a Democrat. I've been a Democrat all my life. And I have seen so many disappointments happen. Be honest with you, I don't think that we have gained anything from the Democratic Party since when they passed the Civil Rights Bill in 1965. It's been going back and back. We keep holding on to that dream, even Martin Luther King was a Republican, you know what I mean? But we still keep holding on to that dream because everybody said that, well, all the Republicans are racist. Well, please, how can you say that? There's no one person holds a monopoly on that. So let's put that aside.
Wasn't there was a Republican president that freed the slaves?
Yeah, Lincoln.
Yeah, I thought so. And people don't know that the Democrat, this is just history. This is not something I made up. The Democratic Party formed the Ku Klux Klan to stop Black Republicans from voting and going for any elected positions. They were
exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know.
And people seem to forget that. But the thing about it is, I didn't. I was very, very much involved in voter registration. Assisting Democratic politicians getting elected and everything. But the thing about it is, what really, really disappointed me, and this was the straw that broke the camel's back, is when we finally got Joe Biden in office, which was a mistake, really a mistake. I don't care what nobody say, you don't like me, you don't like me. I am who I am and I speak the way I feel. Okay, we got him in office. The only thing he did as far as the George Floyd bill was invite his family up there to the White House to eat some doggone chicken. Please, that's an insult to me. You know what I mean? We eat more than chicken, okay? And I don't care if you got hot sauce in the back of your pocket. That don't mean nothing for me. That's an insult, okay? But they didn't do anything. They had passed all these other bills, about. I don't have anything against anybody. I love everybody. You know what I mean? But when if we're supposed to be your base, the Black community is supposed to be your base, you're not catering to us and you're not fulfilling not anything that we have sent you up there for. So why should I just keep on voting for you and putting you in office over and over and over again? And then when you get in there, you say, oh, well, just be cool. Just wait. We'll get you next time. Okay. And look at what's his name? Claiborne. He's the biggest clown I ever seen in my life.
Claiborne,
the one from South Carolina that let had when they gave the permission for the people to vote for Joe Biden, because Joe Biden really didn't. Without his support, he really wasn't put to the forefront. But Claiborne can go to the White House and lay on the doggone Capitol floor to bring illegal aliens over here, but he's not doing that for the Black community. They put his behind in office every time he's elected. It's time for the Black community, the Black Congressional Caucus, to take a hike. And they need some new blood in there. I'm sorry. That's the way I feel. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, I decided that, you know what? If we have so much political power to put so many people in political positions, let's take that And we don't need to take that and make a commitment to somebody that's not doing anything for us. I decided to become nonpartisan, okay? I'm not going to run and just say, I'm going to jump to the Republican Party. I'm going to jump here. I'm going to stay right here in a neutral position because the thing about it is, I know I have the power in my vote. And I know it can make and break presidents and senators and all the rest of that. The only way I feel as though that we could gain the things that we need for the Black community is be in a position of neutrality. So therefore, we have people that can come to us and offer what we are and be held accountable. The Democratic Party, as long as we're committed to them year after year after year, they're going to keep on ignoring us because they think they've taken us for granted. And you know what? We're not stupid. You know what I mean? Let's wake up, people. It's time to wake up. You know, give the Republicans, the Libertarians, give the other people the opportunity to present their platform to you. You might be surprised. You might find something that you have in common with them that give you an alternative to always, instead of just keep on running back to the same party that just keep telling you, you know, see you later. You know, we'll just wait. You know, oh yeah, I gave you some chicken and hot sauce. So what else do you want? Yeah, well, I want more than that. I want to have the freedom that we all Americans have.
So let's get into the impact of somebody being nonpartisan in the state of Nevada as far as voting laws go. So the state of Nevada is a closed primary state. So therefore, you can't participate in a primary if you are not a part of a specific party.
Exactly.
So do you, what are your feelings on that? And do you think that Nevada should be an open primary state?
I think it should be open. And if I could ever find a candidate, or if I decide to run myself, I would present a bill where that we be an open primary state. You know, because the thing about it is, yes, you know, as a nonpartisan, you can't vote in the primaries. You know, you had Democrats have to vote within the Democratic election, the Republicans vice versa. Right. You know, but well, as far as I'm concerned, the Democrats can elect to run whoever they want to. The Republicans can elect whoever they want to. I can decide whether I want to vote for whichever one that they present, or maybe I decide in the general election that we put somebody else in there. You know, we don't have to choose either one of them. Right. And that's what, really, as far as I'm concerned, anybody should be able to put their name on the ballot and run during the primaries, and let the people decide who is going to be that representative, you know? And then once and I would say they should have at least 2 or 3 candidates, regardless of what party they're from, go to the general election, and then everybody can vote however they want to vote, like they do in the general election.
So I guess the next thing, and we had spoken a little bit about this earlier. One thing that I have brought up to you, and I want to do it now that we're on air, is well, it's nice to say that, you know, Martin Luther King was a Republican and Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, but what do you think the Republican Party needs to do? Because I've seen a lot of reluctance on the side of the Republican Party over the years to actually reach out to the Black community, because they just arbitrarily think that the Black community is not going to be open in any of their ideas. So they just don't even try.
And that's a problem.
What would you say to the Republican Party, what they should do? You know, just some recommendations, like, other than just reach out. Like, I don't understand why they don't do that more.
Well, like you said, first of all, they think that the Black community is committed to the Democratic Party. So they said, why even try? Black people in general are conservative. You know what I mean? They are conservative, but they feel as though they have a friend in the Democratic Party, and that they don't have in the Republican Party, because more or less the Republican Party, because based on what they think, have ignored them. Well, I'm saying to you, I'm saying to the Republican Party, our votes has made a decision and been a decisive factor in many elections. So our vote does count and is very important. So if you want that vote then you need to come forward. You need to show us something that the Democratic Party has been promising us that they have not delivered over and over and over again. So, nobody, you might put in people that's ultra conservative, but majority of the people in this country is not ultra conservative. They're not ultra liberal. There is a common ground that we as a people can, we appeal to.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because I've actually brought that up before. I'm like, if we just took politics out of it, okay, and we all agree that politics is life. And I've been telling people that for years. Yeah. But if we just maybe not took politics out of it, but just didn't hit certain hot button issues, like let's not get caught up on, abortion. Let's stay away from the super divisive issues, right. Religion. Like, okay, that's somebody else. I mean, you believe what you believe.
Yeah, whatever we have our common ground.
Right. But if all three of us just were to talk about just regular life issues, like just getting bills paid and how your kids doing, and how your parents doing, whatever, like I'm gonna pretty much guess that 80% of every issue would agree on. So I don't understand why these politicians, they have to be so divisive about everything. And have made the voters so divisive.
I think they sometimes they dwell on, they feed off of people negativity, and fear. First of all of us are Americans. My grandfather, great-grandfather, my brother, cousins, all of them have been in the military, okay? They have fought for the freedom for everybody in this country, okay? We are Americans. My family been here since slavery, okay? So what I'm saying is I'm committed to this country. We're committed to this country. We're not going nowhere, okay? So, and in addition to that, we're human beings. My children, I want education for my children just like you want education for your children. I want my son and daughter, when they go out and be stopped by police, I want them to be respected as a person, you know what I mean? That they should have the fear. So if you consider us all as Americans and as human beings, we have a lot in common. That's what we want. That's basically what we want.
So your show is on 88.1.
Yeah, I'm on 88.1.
And what's the number?
It's KCEP radio station. It's 88.1 FM, and that's right now. It's every third Friday of the month at 9:30.
Is that a conservative station? Is that a liberal station?
That is a very much liberal station. And I don't know how it's going to pan out, but we're breaking the ice. Because I feel as though that the Black community and the community of color should have an opportunity to listen to another point of view that's not ultra liberal, that's not progressive, because in general, we are not ultra liberal and we're not ultra progressive. We're more conservative group of people, but we've been going to a party where we felt that had our interests in mind, but obviously they don't. We should listen. I'm bringing Republicans and everybody on the show so that they can have an opportunity to compare and see what they're offering. And I'm inviting Republican candidates to come and reach out to the Black community, show them that you do have an interest in them and their votes and everything, that they do matter. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking we could find a common ground, and it might be in your best interest to do so. But we are going to hold everybody accountable. I don't care whether they're Republican, Libertarian, Democrat. That's what I feel by being a nonpartisan, is having somebody be accountable and represent our needs and our interests.
Are Democrats educated on the history of their party? Do Do they know that, or on both parties actually, Republican and Democratic Party, do they know that the NAACP was formed by a white woman who's a Republican?
I don't know how much education they know about, because the average person don't know about the actual history of the country, period. But so I'm not going to get into that. But the thing about it is, only thing that they are promoting is go register vote. That's all that they wanted me to do. You just go and get them people, get your people registered to vote. Just register to vote. I try to participate in every aspect of the Democratic Party while I was here. You know, where I wanted to be involved in them putting together the agenda for the Democratic Party. It was only maybe 2 black people there. They don't want you to be a part of the inner circle. They just want you to vote. That's it.
Do you remember when we had the Republican Party had the Assembly, they had the Senate, and they had the governor's office?
Yeah.
And they were voting like they were Democrats. So there's a lot of infiltration in both political parties.
That's true.
That you got Democrats, you got people in the Democrat Party that are really, really conservative, and you got people in the Republican Party that are really, really liberal.
Exactly.
So how come nobody's recognizing all that? And
Well,
what Republicans call them rhinos, Republican in name only. Well, what does the Democrat Party call a conservative?
I don't know what they call them, but
That
I
is
know
in their
one
party.
thing. But right now, what I do know is that the House is Democrat, the Senate is Democrat, but the Democrats can't pass the voter right bill. That goes back to what you just said. They got 2 Democrats, supposed to be Democrats, that's holding the bill up, but we still vote Democrats. So that means that you just don't vote by party alone. You don't vote by just color alone. You don't vote by sex. I know some people vote by sex. Yeah. They vote by sexual orientation. They vote by race, the color, and all that stuff. That doesn't mean anything.
Or if you're not the popular kid, your bill won't pass.
That's right. So therefore, that means that we need to come down to the individual that's running. You know, so it don't have to be a Democrat. Don't just say it. And see, a lot of people just vote straight down Democrat, whether the idiots or, which a few of them I do know this up there, that's been elected assembly people, but I'm not going to mention nobody's name. But they get elected because people just vote straight down the level or whatever.
They call it lazy voting. People that don't educate themselves.
Because they don't know. We want to be able to educate you and let you know what these people are representing.
And some of these people... I got a good example of that. Steve will like this one. So it's interesting you bring that up, because this was... Man, I keep forgetting, like, I'm not trying to age both of us, but we've known each other for a long time. Anyway, I think it was like, it was about 2008, 2009. Steve and I were talking on the phone. He's like, hey, so who are you going to vote for in this race? He goes, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. And I'm like, that's fine. So I tell him, and he goes, why? Do you like him? And I was like, no, actually, I think he's a jerk. Mm-hmm. And Steve's like, well, why do you vote for him then? I was like, well, because he's affiliated to this specific
that's a
party.
big mistake.
And Steve goes, okay, so if you consider him a jerk, but you're going to vote for him anyway because he belongs to this party, then what does that make you, Jim? He said, you got to educate yourself. And that's when I really started getting involved with veterans and politics on a more deeper level, and really started to educate myself on who I was.
That's what we want to do with the Village Voices. We want to educate you. We're not going to limit you just to one particular party. We want you to hear everybody and everything so that you can make a decision, that you just won't go in the booth and just vote all the way down one party line because of this person. I mean, I know that, but I never did do that. When I went in there, I voted for the one I liked. And if I didn't like him and I thought they was an idiot, I wouldn't even vote for him at all, because I think that's unfair. For me to put a vote for somebody that I really didn't think was capable of doing the job just because they was on that party.
Well, I can't tell you how many election years I have people on both sides, actually on all 4 sides of the party, Libertarians and American, Independent American Party,
Exactly.
come to me and say, who should I vote for?
Yeah.
You know, because they know that I'm going to be fair and balanced. I'm not going to say vote for this person because he's a Republican or vote for that person because he's a Democrat. Because there's a lot of Republicans that should be Democrats.
Yeah. Vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, so I go by the qualifications of that person, their experience, their knowledge, the way they present themselves. You know, if they don't return calls or they're a no-show on the show, I won't even mess with them, because why? If they're like that as a candidate, how are they going to be as an elected official?
And another thing, I prefer to talk with the candidate themselves as opposed to their representative. Now, they can send some of their representatives to some of the small events that we have and everything, but I want to see that you have enough interest in our community where you are going to present yourself. Right. You know, and I tend to study each candidate before they come on, so that I'd be in a better position to ask intelligent questions of that candidate, you know, and they have a chance to defend themselves. They're not there. I'm not there to try to make them look bad or anything, because I want them to open up and tell me what they can do and then answer my questions intelligently, you know, and that's just basically what we try to do. So we had said before I came on the show, open up your minds, okay? You know, give a chance to really change the government and way things are done, and be able to attain some of the agendas that we need fulfilled by our political system. And the only way you're going to do that is making the right choices.
And a lot of these candidates don't even know the job that they're trying to get.
And that's one thing I asked them. I said,
Steve's trying to get me started now.
No. I asked him, I asked them, what is a congressperson? What are they supposed to do? Because first of all, one of them, you can get somebody that could be an assembly person or somebody on city council, make you think they can do everything. They Houdini. You know what I mean? They can do this. They can do that. They can't do other no more than what's within the constraints of their position. But that's what the public needs to know. They need to be educated, you know, and know that.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because Steve and I have both dealt with it before and different campaigns. But when I was running when I ran for the assembly in 2008, went to an event, first question was, so what's your position on illegal immigration? I'm like, well, first off, it's a federal issue. As an assemblyman, I can't do anything about it. And they're like, well, we just want your take on it. I'm like, well, again, it's a federal issue.
Instead of wanting to know what you can do in your position as a assembly person.
Yeah.
They don't know.
So, and that's what I said. I said, this is the job title of an assembly person, and this is what I can do, and this is what I can't do. Do you have any further questions? And they just kept railing on illegal immigration. That's all they wanted to talk about.
Well, they because they are uneducated, and some of the candidates make them think that you can do everything. Right. And I asked the candidate, well, why are you running? I mean, you know, let me know, why are you running, and what do you think you can do within the constraints of that position to fulfill what the community needs?
Well, years ago, because we've been interviewing candidates since 2005, around there.
Oh, wow.
And I remember this one candidate running for assembly. He thought that we met at the state building here on, North Las Vegas Boulevard in Washington.
Yeah.
And he believed that the legislature was a full-time position. I mean, this guy knew absolutely nothing about the job that he was running for. And a lot of legislators and federal candidates, I asked them, I said, so, federal candidates, have you been to DC? Oh, no. Well, don't you think that maybe you should go before you run for a federal job?
You are going to be going.
The legislators, have you been to Carson City? No. Have you even been to Reno? No. I mean, are you running for this position and you haven't even been to the place that you're going to go, that you're going to be there constantly if you get elected? And some of them don't even have no idea of where they're gonna be as far as where they're gonna work, where they're gonna make their votes. They don't know nothing. And a lot of these assembly candidates, I ask them, and state senate candidates, I ask them, I said, so what bills do you have in mind? What motivated you to want to run for this position? They don't have no bills in mind.
None at all.
None. They
don't even know that they're supposed to be presenting something.
They don't even know how many bills they could carry, or the committees that they could be elected to by their peers. They have no idea. And I'm like, why are you running? Why are you running? Just go home.
That's for a title.
So, and these are the people we elect.
That's
and
right.
And we put them in office, and then we complain when shit goes out of whack.
So let me just real quick. I actually want to add to what you're saying, Steve. It happens on the federal level a lot too. So when you see politicians, like whether it's congressman or a senator or state assembly candidate, and the reason why they're called state assembly candidates in the state of Nevada is because it is part-time.
Yeah.
That's the difference between, but anyway. So anyway, long story short, that's the reason why some of these bills that get proposed are so crazy, because it's not the actual person that you elected writing these laws. It's their staff members.
Yeah.
That are writing these laws, and all they do is advocate for them, but they have no clue of the impact that they're going to have, because they don't understand what they're doing, their office, because they are literally just puppets.
They're just a head. I mean, just a head of something. I mean, they should know what's inside that bill that they're going to be voting for in behalf of their constituents. It's really sad. I mean, that it's a matter of education, Let our constituents out there in the community know exactly what's going on and how they're being used and why things are not being passed and everything, and what happens when they go up there. It's a mess.
It's like federal. It's like the judges. I ask them if they know anything about the Constitution. And I said, do you know the First Amendment, Second Amendment, the 14th
they want to
Amendment?
know, what is that?
A lot of these candidates that are running for judicial seats have no concept on the U.S. Constitution. A lot of them. And how are you going to, judge people if you don't even know the Constitution of these United States? And a lot of these judicial candidates have no idea. Like, a lot of them run for a family court position, and they haven't even stepped foot in a family court. And as an attorney, they haven't even tried one case as an attorney, but yet they're in that position, and it just blows my mind. Say again?
They haven't been challenged either. They need a group that's going to challenge them. Yeah. And I would say to everybody out there, pay very close attention to your local elections. Those are the ones that have the most impact on you. Know them. Don't just go in there and just push a button because you heard that name more than the other one. Find out what these people are, because your life could be at stake based upon who you vote for locally.
Right now in this 22 election, I believe there are 2 Supreme Court seats that are up, and there are 2 Nevada appellate court seats that are also up. There are 2 district court vacancies that are up, and I think there's about 6 Las Vegas justice of the peace and 2 one municipal court race in North Las Vegas, and that reminds me about North Las Vegas. They put their own they put their own person in the position of a municipal court judge when they got rid of that seat with the Catherine Ramsey.
Yeah.
When they got rid of the seat, they brought in Chris Lee in, who lost his justice of the peace seat to Belinda Harris.
Yeah, Belinda
Harris, and then they appointed him as a municipal court judge. You can't do that. That's an elected
insane.
position.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'm glad that the ACLU got involved in that. But you got people like that are just not following this book.
they're not, and we have to call them out. Somebody has to make them accountable for doing the right
Call
thing.
them out. You're crazy. You're bad. You're shaking the
they
tree.
want to ostracize you.
Yeah.
But you know what? The thing about it is, I think that what I'm saying is on the mind of a lot of people. You know, we talk about people in the minority community. They thinking the same thing. You know, they're sick and tired of being used and being taken for granted, played for a fool, disappointed, and everything. And you know, somebody got to step up and say something. Enough is enough. Okay, let's keep going down the same road. We're better than that.
You know, I went to the last NAACP meeting I went to was years ago, and I went there, and a lot of people were asking me, "Why are you here? Why are you here?" Because they know I'm a registered Republican.
Right.
I didn't know the NAACP was all Democrat. But then when I did my little research, I started talking to people in the crowd, and there were a lot of Black Republicans sitting there. Closet Republicans, they didn't want to come out and say that they're Republicans because they're Black. They didn't want to be ostracized by their counterparts.
Coons and they and they Uncle Tom.
I went on stage and I said, there are a lot of Republicans here, and you guys need to know the history of both parties. You know the history of the Democratic Party, know the history of the Republican Party. Stop following the flock because your mom and dad is a Democrat.
Yeah.
You're going to be a Democrat too, right? Think for yourself. And then Joe Neal stood up and was trying to shut me down, and I just went off on him.
Oh, okay.
Remember Joe Neal?
Not used to.
You know, I didn't like that. I had the floor.
Oh, exactly. Hey,
you know,
have the right to speak too.
You know, it's like they was trying to say, "Oh no, Republicans are not allowed in NAACP." Really?
I didn't know it was. I thought it was non-partisan.
That's what I thought.
You know,
that's what I thought.
And see, the thing about it is, all of you Republican and conservative Black people or people of color out there, come forward. You know, maybe you might be able to give the other people some information that they need to adopt and listen to. You know what I mean? Because since I became nonpartisan, I've met a lot of Black Republicans. You know, very, very educated people. You know, very distinguished people, and they didn't just become a Republican because they were stupid or that they have legitimate reason for taking the stance that they have as a Republican. You know, I'm sure that they don't agree on everything, and neither as a Black person that was Democrat believe on everything.
You shouldn't though.
No,
see, that's the thing. That's why I was saying I don't understand why people get so crazy about the 20% that we disagree on, but you agree on 80% of the stuff, so just let it go.
Yeah.
You know, just let that go.
We need to come together with the common ground. And I think that by being in a position of a nonpartisan, we can come together and vote on common candidates that we know have a common ground with our thoughts, our agenda, things that we need. We come together as an American, first of all. We are Americans. You know, I know no other country but America. Would not live in no other country but America. So I care about what goes on here and with us. And especially with Nevada, because this is where I live. And this is where I'm going to stay.
Right.
So, you know, come together and be an open mind, give the other people a chance to court your vote and everything like that. You might be surprised. You might get something done.
So, Ms. Gibson, did we cover everything you wanted to cover?
I think so.
Okay.
I just, my main concern, one of my concerns is working with younger people, help mentoring them to get jobs during the summer, during the school year, prepare them so that when they graduate from high school, they can go out into the job market and get a job, whether they decide to go to college or not, because everybody don't have to go to college. Yeah. You know, and if Nevada becomes a more educated, we could bring in a lot of industries here that make it a better economy.
That's right. Nobody wants to bring their workforce to Nevada with a failing school system.
No. That's also, I do have to say one more thing. I am for school choice, okay? Based on the condition of our school system here, we need school choice, okay? We need the public school system here needs a competition, because when are they going to ever do better? And our children should be held hostage in the system because they can't afford to take an alternative. So, vote for school choice, come out. I believe they have a meeting today, the school choices.
And something they really do need to start talking about in school, teaching students on how to budget, how to do money management, how to invest money, how to buy stocks, how to buy property, how to make their money work for them.
How to even write a check.
Instead of doing all this crazy nonsense that they're never going to be used in their life.
About all this other stuff that's crowded in women's bathroom and all that stuff, please. But the school that I went to in Oregon, because I was raised in Oregon, I learned bookkeeping, typing, and skills that put me in a position where I could get a job while I was in high school to pay for my school supplies and clothes. And then when I was going to college, I was able to have some type of employment. You know what I mean? So, they should have vocational training schools on the high school level here.
But they talk about America is constantly in debt. America is constantly in debt because we don't teach our kids how to budget, how to finance, how to move money around, how to, don't get that credit card. That's a 35% interest rate. You probably don't want to use that one. Here's one is a 4.2% interest rate. That's the one you want to use.
That in high school.
They don't teach that
they
stuff though. That's why a lot of Americans are in debt because they have no concept. They have no knowledge on financial background. No knowledge. And that's what they need to start teaching.
Automatically, they send you a credit card because they know you're immature. You're going to blow it up, and then I don't know the benefit of that.
I get those credit card things. I just rip them in half.
Yeah. Credit is a big problem.
Oh, yeah. So, Ms. Gibson, it was great talking to you. It's been inspiring.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You have anything else for Ms. Gibson?
No, I don't. I just, it was a good conversation.
Yeah, just keep open mind, people.
Well, you get the final word, and Mark is going to zoom in on you, and you get to close out whatever you want to say and your point of contact.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I just want to say that keep an open mind. We need to change, and we need to be able to listen to all sides. Don't just be committed to no particular party. And dependent upon them to fulfill all your needs, because it's not going to happen. It hasn't happened, and it's not going to happen. I became nonpartisan because I think it's a better position for me to be in and other people of color, so that you listen to people not just because of their race, not because of their color, not because of their party. You know what I mean? I have the Village Voices show, and I'd like for you to join me every third Friday from 9:30 a.m. on KCEP radio station. We're also holding town hall meetings where all the various candidates will come out, and we'll have a panel representing different aspects of the community, ask them questions so you'll be able to participate and meet them up close and personal. Please join me, and please keep an open mind. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Gibson, for coming on the program. Thanks, Jim. But there was one more thing that I wanted to say. I understand that the congressional seats, that if you live in Congressional District 1, you could run for District 4 and vice versa, or wherever you are. But one thing I can't understand is, how could you live in a district, right, and go and be a candidate in another district, but yet you're asking people to vote for you, but you can't vote for yourself?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah. I mean,
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, and I agree on that level. Like, that should not be allowed.
No,
I don't understand why they have that. Like, you can't do that if you're running for the assembly.
Yeah. So why is congressional different? And that's the one I don't understand.
Yeah, me either.
Folks, this is Steve Sampson, Jim Jones of Veterans in Politics. That was Miriam Gibson, who is our guest, and she talked about switching from the Democratic Party to nonpartisan, and she also discussed her show on 88.1, The Village Voice. Tune into it and check her out. She is very fair.
Yes.
Very fair, and she will interview you no matter what political party you're from. And that's what we're going to start having to happen with everybody. Be fair and interview everybody and let the people make a decision who they want. This is Steve Sanchez, Jim Jones for Veterans in Politics. Until next time.